It'll take 15 seconds, and then we can talk about that topic.
All right, so hurry up. I'm going to count to 15 there, Jeremiah.
Yeah, count
If you
count
do
in your
not have it done in 15 seconds, I will completely bash the shit out of you.
Okay, count in your head, buddy. Starting now. What's up, YouTube? Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe if you have not already. There's gonna be a poll over on YouTube. If you're over here on TikTok, double tap that phone screen. Share the live to a couple friends, repost live, do all the good things. And make sure to join up in the guest box if you want to talk about either of these. We have what's your name? What can I call you?
Mikey.
We have Mikey over here on the line saying that he wants to talk about like trans people. Go ahead, take it away. Why do you want to talk about trans people?
Because we shouldn't be pushing that on children. Children should experience their lives as kids and not experience the thing of changing their gender. It should not be pushed on children.
Do you acknowledge that trans kids exist? That's my first
No.
question. And B, how are Democrats pushing transgender ideology on children?
Trans kids do not exist. Because
Trans
back
kids
then we were
exist, yes.
no, they do not. Because back then we weren't. If we were wearing boy clothes, if a girl was wearing boy clothes, they'd be considered a tomboy.
If a boy is wearing girl clothes or a girl is wearing feminine or a girl is wearing masculine clothes, that doesn't mean that they're a girl or a boy, right? Wearing clothes does not mean that they are of said gender that typically aligns with femininity or masculinity. So I don't know what you're trying to bring up there. Women can wear masculine clothes, men can wear feminine clothes. Like you can wear a dress and you won't be a woman.
But why are people pushing it on the children? Why is the LGBTQ community pushing it on children?
Yeah, how are they pushing it on children?
If you okay, so I want to ask you a question, right?
Sure, take it
And
away.
I want you to honestly think about this, right? Let's say you have a child and they're 12 years old and they say, "Dad, I believe I'm a girl." So
Sure.
you sit there and you do the process of getting them to be a girl, and around 18 years old, they get the bottom surgery. Then 3 or 4 years after they get the bottom surgery, they go, "I don't want to be a girl anymore."
Sure. Sure.
So
What I ask you here is going to be what are the statistics on the
hold
actual
on, let me finish.
on the
Let me
actual
finish,
rates of
please.
people regretting it, the regret rates, because we're going to see a much lower regret rates
It's
compared to
not.
other
That's
surgeries.
not the point,
Yes, it
though.
is.
It's not. It's not a point of the regret rate. If you let's say hypothetically you get that bottom surgery as a girl,
Mm,
so you have the private part of a man now,
mm,
and 3 or 4 years down the road after the surgery, you don't want to be a girl anymore.
sure.
So how do you what happens? You have to have that
Yes, it is.
surgery for the rest of your life because you can't get those feelings back in your private area. You can't get that reproductive system back in your private area.
Sure. Sure, sure. My only thing that I would point out here is that just because someone regrets it doesn't mean we should ban healthcare for all of these individuals.
How
And
is that?
B, hold on, and B, we should not take a look at. Well, we should actually take a look at the regret statistics. We can see compared to other surgeries and other procedures, these regret rates are going to be much lower compared to them. But like I said, even if a couple people regret it doesn't mean that we should just ban the procedures altogether for every single person, right? There are
So,
going to be
but how
regrets
is
for
it
everything.
healthcare?
There's going to be regrets for every single surgery, for everything. LASIK surgery. There's going to be, I don't even know what other kinds of surgeries off the top of my head, but there's
But how is
regret
it?
surgeries.
So how is it healthcare when the taxpayers are paying for it so that the doctors can perform the surgery on either the children or the adults?
It's like
But,
asking how is preventative healthcare if we have free healthcare? It's still going to be healthcare,
but
even if it's quote unquote
how is
paid
it healthcare?
by the taxpayer dollars. But A, it's not paid by the taxpayer dollars, and C, there's actually in some instances where doctors they actually what's the word they recommend these not procedures in specifically, but for what's it called hormone blockers, if I'm not mistaken. They recommend them. They consult with their doctor, with the parents and the kid, and they determine what is best for the kid. I mean, not, even people who are
But how? Wait.
cisgender kids sometimes use these procedures. Not like obviously surgeries, but they use procedures that like trans kids also use. Right? It's not just for
But
trans
you
kids.
just
It's gonna be for
said, right?
cisgender kids for multiple different reasons.
What if they put an age limit to the time the child can, you know, become the other?
There's no instance where like any child has gotten a surgery. There's no instance that any like minor like under 18 has gotten like a bottom surgery or whatever you're gonna be referencing.
But you're giving hormone blockers to children, you're basically stopping the puberty and telling a child.
Puberty blockers, yeah, those they can be reversed.
I understand that, but what you're doing is you're telling your child that is learning about their body at the time of puberty, you know what? We're not going to learn about your body. We're going to stop it. And then when we're ready as parents.
No, it's not just the parents, it's the kids and the doctor. The three of them have to determine what is best for said individual, for said child. It's not just going to be the parents. The parents can't choose whether or not to, like, quote unquote, make their trans kid. That's not how it works, buddy. The parents cannot choose to make
how it works. Because
the child, the parent, and the doctor all consult each other.
I'm not going to allow you talk over me again, like you always do. Please.
Go ahead.
A child should not make the decision whether they're trans or not. My 10-year-old daughter just told me that she wants to be an astronaut. Should I have my 10-year-old daughter learn how to be an astronaut her whole entire life? And then let's say, 5 years.
Not her whole entire life.
Hold on.
But if she says she wants to be an astronaut, buy her toys. I don't know.
Hold on. My daughter told me the other day she wants to be an astronaut. Mm-hmm. So for her whole entire life, should I just push her to be an astronaut? You're going to be an astronaut your whole entire life. And then down the road, let's say she's 24 and she goes, you know what, Daddy, I don't want to be an astronaut anymore. Well, you're an astronaut because you want to be an astronaut at the age of 10. That's how it is. What you're doing is you're putting in the mind, because a child's mind and a person's mind doesn't stop developing until you're 25 as a female and 30 as a male. Mm-hmm. So when you're pushing that on the children, sure, you're making that child believe constantly that you can be a girl or boy when you're born a boy or girl.
Sure. So you said a couple of things there. You said if your daughter asks you to be an astronaut, and then you said, should she be an astronaut her whole life? No, that's obviously not the case. But I think that you should give your daughter ways to be able to quote unquote I like work with like astronaut things. I don't know what astronaut things are, like buy her toys, maybe like buy her like a game, like a simulation game where she's able to like pretend to be an astronaut.
What I'm saying.
But the point is here, what you're referencing is going to be like surgeries, because puberty blockers can be reversed, but surgeries, those are determined. Those aren't done until they're adults. Okay, surgeries are not determined by parents. You can't give me an example of children getting surgeries to quote unquote become trans. Those happen when they're adults, when they're consenting adults. Okay, so that is the issue that I have here with this analogy. Okay, that's the difference, and that's what makes it not analogous, because that does not happen. I am understanding what you're saying. I'll steel man your argument. You're saying we shouldn't let trans kids be trans. And get quote unquote bottom surgeries because your daughter wants to be an astronaut, and if you force her to be an astronaut for the rest of her life, and she wants to be something different, she can. And if this kid, when they grow up, they choose that they quote unquote they want to detransition quote unquote, and they made a mistake with getting the surgery. Yeah, that doesn't happen. Children don't get surgeries. That does not happen.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Then what's the analogous? What's analogous?
What you're doing is you're pushing the thought on a child when the brain is still developing, saying, if the child comes to you and says, I want to be a girl when they're a boy. So you're pushing that until they turn 18. They get the surgery at 18 years old. 4 or 5 years down the road. Yeah. 4 or 5 years down the road, they had the surgery. Sure. They got the body parts removed. They got the new bottom parts. But then they go, I don't want to be that anymore. So what you're doing is,
the regret rates are really low.
It doesn't matter if the regrets rate are low.
It's because a couple of people. Okay, let's say a couple of people regretted like LASIK surgery. Should we ban LASIK surgery because they're gonna regret it?
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay, so why are you saying? So then, why you are? I'll steel man this argument now. You're saying, let's say that you're controlling the mind of your child, and then as soon as they turn 18, they want to get a quote unquote bottom surgery. They go get it. 4 or 5 years down the road, they regret it. Okay. What if someone who gets LASIK surgery, you use their mind and control their mind and make them think they need LASIK surgery? As soon as they're 18, they go get LASIK surgery. 4 or 5 years down the road,
LASIK surgery for what?
And LASIK surgery for the eyes.
Okay, well, that right there,
But the point is the regret. We're talking about the regret. In both instances,
okay, I understand it, but listen.
So why in one should we ban them, why is not, and the other should we not?
LASIK surgery sometimes is needed to correct the eye system.
But the regret.
You're using a different
The
analogy.
regret. No, it's the regret rate. We're talking about the regret. In both instances, individuals regret them. You're saying because just some people are going to regret their surgeries, that therefore we should ban them. Well, in this instance, some people regret LASIK surgery, therefore we should ban them. But I don't think we're, quote unquote, we're not instilling them in their mind, okay? Children have the ability to, like, look at the world however they want to look at it. I mean, if you want to use that example, parents are forcing their kids to be straight, right? Christian conservatives are forcing their kids to be straight. Are they not? Right? See how I can choose. See how I can choose any of your arguments and make them turn against you. Like parents, I know you're not a Christian. You said you're not a Christian, but like Christian conservatives are forcing their children to be straight.
But what you're saying is, I want you to understand what you're saying. Sometimes LASIK surgery on your eyes is needed. At no point in anybody's lives is it needed to change your sex, to change your identity in any point of your life.
What is analogy? Well, I'm not comparing the surgeries. I'm comparing the regret rates, and that's not true. It very much is needed. But what I'm comparing is going to be in both instances. What is analogous is not the fact of the surgeries. What is analogous is going to be the regret rates. Okay, the analogy here is that both individuals for the quote unquote bottom surgery and the quote unquote LASIK surgery, they both regret them. And you say just because one regrets them, they should be banned, but just because the other regrets them, they shouldn't be banned. That is a contradiction with your worldview, right? We can acknowledge that there are going to be regret rates within any surgery. I'm not denying that. Some people are going to regret surgeries, but that doesn't mean we should ban them for everyone.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
At what point in a child's life or a man's life that is born a biological male, at what point in life should it be okay for that man to walk into a woman's bathroom? At any point. Why is it okay for a man
to identify as a woman? I don't think men should walk into women's bathrooms. I think trans women are women.
Okay, you know what? Then have a good day. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, you're gonna run away because you're scared. I cooked you on the argument of
you're not cooking me, bro. What you're doing is you're talking over.
So can you? I'm not talking over. This is a debate. Sometimes there's gonna be interruptions. I'm sorry you're being such a snowflake. Sometimes there are gonna be slight interruptions to get clarifying questions or clarifying point across.
Hold on, Jeremiah. Because I don't want to debate the fact that there's trans women that go in the bathroom that are biological men with my daughter in there. You want to go straight to insults? Because I'm a snowflake, because I don't want biological men to go to the bathroom with my daughter. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I don't give a fuck if I get taken down. If there's a trans man that goes in the bathroom, my 10-year-old daughter, and my daughter...
I'm going to mute you because I don't want you to say anything. Listen, I'm not saying...
I'm not saying the everlasting fuck out of them.
Listen. Yeah,
hold on, my mom has a question.
Yeah, what's your question? What's up? What's up, Mom?
How do you know... How do you know that a man is dressing as a woman... because he's a pedophile and that's his opportunity rather than being an actual trans person?
For sure. That's a great question. And I think that ties into like being holding this transphobic view that every trans individual is a P3. I'm not saying you hold that view, but many individuals do. So I'll answer that question. So there's a difference between like drag, and there's a difference between like trans individuals, and then there's a difference between like bad apples, i.e. Cis men that are going to pretend to be like trans individuals, go into women's bathrooms and then do horrible crimes against said women. But the thing about here, if we want to base the bathrooms on sex, and you want to put trans men, i.e. Females in female bathrooms, you're going to have masculine presenting individuals within the female bathroom because they're female, but they look like a trans man. They're let's say that they're passing, for example. So what you're going to have here is you're going to have, under your worldview, you're going to have cisgender men being able to go to the female bathroom and say, hey, I'm female. So under both of our worldviews, those issues arise. My solution is gender neutral bathrooms. Okay, not a separate bathroom for trans individuals, right? Not men, women, female, male. Gender neutral bathrooms, because we can both agree under both of our perspectives that can happen. There are going to be rotten apples within a bunch in every single group. That is going to happen, okay, under both of our perspectives. A solution, and we see this works in Nordic countries, Finland, Sweden, Canada. I know Canada's not Nordic, but I added that one. The solution is gender neutral bathrooms. Bathrooms that go top to bottom, they don't have any cracks. That is that. Do you agree, Mikey? And do you agree,
No, I do not,
Mom, that that's a
actually.
solution?
No.
I got a retort for that. Okay.
Sure.
Having it be gender neutral is not a problem if it's a single stall bathroom.
Exactly. Yes. A single stall bathroom. There's no gaps top to bottom or through the sides, because I know that's a big issue. There's always gaps. There's no gaps. They lock correctly. It's a single stall. They have everything they need in that stall. That is what I mean by gender neutral bathroom. Is that something that we can come into an agreement with? Something that fulfills both of our perspectives.
I was just curious if you meant where it's like multiple bathrooms.
No, it's
like,
one. It's one. Yeah, it's one.
But why is it that the LGBTQ plus IAWXYZ community is allowing biological men? I'm not going to say male or woman, because you can't use that ideology anymore. Biological men with the reproductive system to go into the woman's bathroom. Why are you guys allowing that? That shouldn't be allowed at any point in a man's life. No, at no point. Let's say you dress up as a woman and you want to go in the woman's bathroom. Why do you think that's okay in order to do that? There's at no point.
Sure. I'll address what you said. So, we're gonna have to say like biological males. So there's no difference. There's a difference between males and men. The reason why I think it's okay for trans women to go into like women's bathrooms is because a woman is gonna be a human person, an adult human person that identifies or has a desire to be in accordance with a particular set of norms that align with the female sex. Okay.
So if anyone meets my criteria, you cannot have any. If you are born a biological male.
Okay, what's a male?
Hold on. If you were born with a biological man with the male reproductive system and the male genitalia and the male, the sperm, at no point in anybody's life should they think it's okay as a male to go into that bathroom.
Sure. So can you tell me what a male is?
A male is a person that's born with the male genitalia.
Okay, what about intersex people?
What is that? 0.00001 of the community?
Yeah, that would still be a contradiction within your argument, and you agreed that they do exist. Intersex people do exist, so that is going to be a contradiction within your definition. My definition has no. I thought you said no interrupting, right? You were being a
1 out of 30 billion people are intersex.
1 out of 30 billion. I don't think there's 30 billion people on this planet. But either way, intersex people do exist, and that is a contradiction within your definition. That is not a contradiction within my definition. If there's not a contradiction within my definition, that means my definition is preferred because yours has a contradiction. Mine doesn't. Therefore, my definition is preferred.
Okay,
we do not want contradictions in definitions.
What is the biological anatomy of a male?
What is a biological anatomy of a male? That's going to be that's a lot of things, right? You can point to the chromosomes. You can point to the gametes. You can point to the genitalia in some instances. All of these different. So
if that's the biological male, right? Why is it now that biological males are dressing up with the gender dysphoria that is put in their mind from the time that they were younger to say, you know what? I'm going to go in the bathroom as a female with children there and with adults in there. Now, what happens if you sit there and let's say you go in there, you dress as a male, right? And you are using the bathroom and you forget to lock the door.
Sure. And
you open the door, or a child or a mother opens the door.
Sure.
You turn around with your private part holding in your hand.
Sure.
So, do you think that's going to scar the mother or scar the child? And I'm not yelling, guys. Trust me. If I was yelling, you would know.
Sure. You made a couple different points there. You said gender dysphoria. A, not all trans individuals have gender dysphoria. B, some trans individuals do have gender dysphoria. C, some cis individuals have gender dysphoria.
No,
that's going to be a moot point. Yes, they do. Some people that are some
incidents where cisgender male had dysphoria.
Yes, cisgender men have gender dysphoria. That's funny. What do you know? What gender dysphoria is?
Yes,
What is
it's
it?
thinking that you're the opposite sex of what you're not born as.
And you don't have to like be a trans woman. You don't have to identify as a trans woman in order to have gender dysphoria. You don't have to identify as a trans man to have gender dysphoria. You do realize that literally is the case. Cisgender individuals have gender dysphoria. It's not
No,
just
they
particularly
don't, dude. Are you
the same way. The same way. Look,
pill today?
the same way. Not the same way. Not all trans individuals have gender dysphoria. Not all cis individuals have gender dysphoria.
Pedophiles that go in the woman's bathroom. You are sticking up for that.
There it is. Not all, bro. Can you agree that not every single?
Because you're acting stupid.
Can you agree that not every single trans person is a pedophile?
No.
Perfect.
I cannot, because why are biological men with the motherfucking penis, a penis, walking into the bathroom? A penis. No man with a penis should walk into a woman's bathroom at any point. There are fucking children in there, and I'm not generally weak-minded. Y'all are fucking stupid. Y'all are some fucking tampon Tim loving motherfucker.
Mikey, you're transphobic. You just said every single.
This is fucking stupid.
Mikey, you just said every trans person is a pedophile.
Yes, they are.
Do you realize how absurd that sounds?
Do you realize how absurd it is to say that biological men that dress up as women can go into the woman's bathroom with a fucking child in there?
Men who do drag, they're not women. They don't belong in women's spaces.
And you got me for harassment and bullying. You're fucking.
I didn't get you for harassment and bullying. You just said every trans person is a pedophile. Okay, I want everyone in here to know trans people are not pedophiles. Okay, we can agree that there's going to be bad apples within every group. Some cis people are going to be pedophiles. Some trans people are going to be pedophiles. Right? It doesn't matter what race, gender, there's going to be pedophiles within every group of individuals. There's going to be bad apples within every group of individuals. Obviously, doesn't seem like I was able to change Mikey's mind today. I think after he said that every trans person is a pedophile, I don't think I want to have a conversation with him anymore. But I think I was able to get his mom's mind changed. So, and Chad, I'm sorry you guys had to like deal with that. That's insufferable. People like that are very insufferable. Very harmful. Very, very harmful. Moving on to the next guest. It's just sad. It really is. Like, you have so much hatred for groups of individuals that you like go on a live stream and just promote that hate. Very sad. How's it going? What do you want to talk about?
Well, we could pick up where that guy left off, or we could just start fresh. What do you prefer?
There's 3 prompts. Why do you support Trump? Why do you think men are better at leading than women? Or why do you think it's wrong to be gay?
Those are tough ones. Well, let's just try. Why men are better at leading than women?
Sure, take it away. Why do you think men are better at leading than women?
Women are susceptible to their emotions and empathy, and therefore it overcomes their ability to exercise logic in intense situations.
It's going to be false. Women have a higher EQ on average than men. And then also you said under 10 situations. That's also going to be false. We can take a look at the study that has been performed. 80% of surgeons are men. 20% of them are roughly women. You are more likely to survive if you're performed by a surgeon that's a woman compared to a man. Right. So even though women are the minority in the surgeon field, you're more likely to survive if you're performed by a woman. My sources are going to be the NIH and yes, the NIH. And if you want, I could provide you a different source as well as Forbes. Those are going to be my sources for that. So that claim that you made is wrong. Also, empathy. I think empathy is needed to be a good leader. I think having a high EQ is good. As well as we can also see that women have a higher IQ. So those points are going to be moot. But yeah.
What was the first point? You just rattled off like 5 or 4 points very quickly.
3 points. Women have a higher EQ. Women perform better under stress, i.e. surgery. You're more likely to survive if you're performed by a surgeon that's a woman.
Well, let's just do the first one, and we'll get through them. You're a pretty chill guy, so sure. We can just keep it chill. So the EQ, that's not like a valid argument against being emotional. That just means they have emotional intelligence, which I would
What is
actually
emotional
concede to that.
intelligence?
Emotional intelligence. Let's get a dictionary to keep it clean. The ability to recognize, understand, and manage and influence your own emotions and those of others. So I think
Manage
that
your own emotions. There you go.
Well, so under that definition, I would say that has been incorrect in practice.
You mean my statistics are flawed? Yeah, why
Okay,
do
so
you disagree
you
with
want
my
to dig into the
statistics?
statistics. What's the next point? You did a statistic.
One more time? Are we going to talk about the EQ, or did you want to move on to the next point?
Well, you asked me a question about your statistics being flawed.
No, you just said, I'm asking you, do you think what I said is wrong, like that women have a higher EQ on average? Do you think that's wrong?
Well, I think they have better bedside manner and they have a propensity towards those types of jobs, but no, not that they have
We're
more
talking about
control
EQ
over
on
their own
average.
emotions.
But hold on, if you agree that EQ is that they have control over their own emotions,
I would have to
then-
disagree now that I have the dictionary.
but you just read the definition.
Right, now that I see the dictionary definition, I would have to disagree with you.
So, okay, why do you disagree with me?
Because they aren't better at influencing their own emotions. That's the
The
argument I
NIH
made initially.
The NIH, as well as Dr. Sean Andrews, com, are men and women equally emotionally intelligent, and then the NIH is going to be gender difference in emotion perception and self-reported, proves that women have a higher EQ on average.
You just said it was self-reported.
This is what the NIH. There's going to be multiple different studies of the NIH, buddy.
For instance, if you look at it on a societal scale, suicidal empathy is a term now, even in a book by Gad Assad. You'll see where feminism and creating the appeal to the female voter has had a negative effect for men and women in this country.
What?
It has.
What,
Yeah,
brother?
check Just roll with it. Like, just entertain it. Entertain it. Laugh at it if you want. Laugh at it.
Do you think that giving the women the right to vote, do you think that like caused suicide rates to like go up for men? Like, do you think women having the right to vote like made men like commit suicide more? Like, is that truly something
Actually,
you believe?
Well, the results have been bad for women disproportionately.
That's not the question. Do you think women having the right to vote is leading to higher suicides in men?
I couldn't speak to that, but I can say that it has led to higher suicide in women.
No, men have a higher suicide on average than men. Men have a higher suicides on average than women. That's just a fact.
That also is true, but it doesn't make it untrue.
Okay.
It doesn't make it untrue that women are now disproportionately sadder on prescription drugs and more suicidal than men.
Well, I'm sorry that they take. I would rather someone be sad than someone be dead. I'm sorry that they take antidepressants. Like, I know that sounds harsh, but I would rather be someone be sad than someone be dead. Okay, I value human life.
That's a false dichotomy.
How is that
a false dichotomy? Because you're saying,
how is that a false dichotomy?
Because my claim had nothing to do with whether or not they should take drugs. It's that they are now sadder.
You literally said they're sadder because they're on drugs.
No, it was because literally the results since feminism, since the 70s.
You're saying they're sad because of feminism? You're saying women are sad because they're able to vote?
Are you going to let me finish? Do you want me to finish?
Go for it.
The results since the 70s has shown to be disproportionately negative for women. Now they're expected to be in the workforce and have kids. Now they are sadder, more suicidal, and take more prescription drugs. And if you want to cite the source, you can look at the book called Occult Feminism, The Secret History of Women's Liberation by Rachel Wilson.
Is Rachel Wilson like who's Rachel Wilson?
I mean, if I would say Rachel Wilson is the author of that book, and she is a popular debater in the debate sphere.
Oh, she's a far right, yes?
I can't speak for her political leanings.
So you're going to cite a far right source for quote-unquote statistics. You're going to cite a book that's like far right. That's fucking insane.
What's insane about that? That's just an ad hominem attack. You're not actually challenging
Well,
the
yeah,
claim.
because
You're
you're not
challenging
giving me
the
an unbiased
source.
source. Yeah, you're not giving me an unbiased. You're not giving me an unbiased person to determine whether or not this is
It
actually
doesn't matter
factually
whether they're
true.
biased. It matters
It
whether their
actually does.
points. No, it
Plus,
matters whether
plus,
they're.
I can't attack. I
You're
can't attack your
interrupting me
actual
again. Are
source.
you
I
spurging
can't
out,
attack
bro? Or
your.
you want to
I
chill
can't
and
attack your
just?
actual source.
Do
I
you
can't
want
attack
to?
your actual source because I'm not going to read her book. I'm not going to take hours of my time to read her book. That's insane. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to purchase a book.
Okay, so
just
you're gonna
prove you wrong
spurg
in a
out and you
debate.
won't let me finish. I get it. I
Yeah,
understand.
finish.
Dude.
Go ahead.
I'm seeing 3 pages of cited sources in the bibliography, and people have tried to challenge this book and failed. You don't have to read the book. You don't have to. I know that you won't. By your quick
someone far
response,
right, yeah, I'm not going to read that.
By the fact that you have to interrupt me and spurg out, shows me that you don't actually want to challenge the claims. You just want to do ad hominem attacks and spurg out.
I'm challenging your claims. You made the claim that women are sad because of feminism, and then I asked a clarifying question. Do you think women are sad because they have the ability to vote, because they have the ability to open up a bank account? Do you think women are sad because of those reasons? Because they're wanting equality. Do you think that's why women are sad? Really?
No, the results are
what
that
is
they
feminism?
are sadder. So you're creating false dichotomies, like a slippery slope fallacy or something, where you're like, ooh, by giving them a card, they'll be sad. By letting them own a house, they'll buy this sad.
Holy blunder. That's not a false dichotomy, buddy. Anyways, yeah.
But you know that it's a fallacy, do you not? You see that is a fallacy.
You blunder. You can say it's a blunder. You can say it's a fallacy, but that's still a blunder because you said it's a false dichotomy. Anyways, can you tell me like what feminism is?
I'll take a blunder. It still doesn't dismantle my argument. It just means that you're getting into semantics and you're better at identifying logical fallacies than me by name. It doesn't make it not a logical fallacy, the thing that you said.
Actually, it does not make it a logical fallacy. What logical fallacy is it?
Okay, so you said, when I say that feminism, for instance, has caused women to be more, is resulted, not the base causality, but
can we clarify what feminism is?
The feminist movement.
Okay, what is the feminist movement? What is the feminist movement? I need clarifying questions. I don't know what this is. What is feminism? What is the feminist movement, and what have they accomplished? I need clarification.
Well, let's go back to this since you want to get back into dictionaries instead of actually have a substantive argument.
You don't even know what feminism is, brother.
Well, I know that if you want to...
You don't know what feminism is, and you think the actual response to feminism made women...
I don't know what it is. It's that I don't want to speak correctly, and that you would dismantle things like dictionaries instead of the argument. Why don't you approach the argument first before I tell you what fallacy is that? Did the feminism happen in the 70s, yes or no?
Can you what is feminism and what is the feminist movement? What do they accomplish?
No, you can't look it up. You
can look it up. You
can't take the argument head on, and you have to jump around with word Olympics in order to look like you're correct, even though you know you're incorrect, or you just don't have a substantive argument against it.
Yeah, what is feminism, bud?
Again, so you're going to do it that way.
I need clarifying questions. You made the claim that the reaction of feminism or something. I don't know exactly what word, but
I'm speaking specifically to the feminist movement.
Okay, what is the feminist movement?
The feminist movement happened in the 70s. They believed that there should be equality between men and women, which is totally reasonable. But then they pushed all these other agendas, like getting women equally in the workplace and having them fully integrated into the job force. Meanwhile, which again, women should have the ability to do that, but when it is culturally implied that they should do that, which was what happened in the feminist movement, it pushed them into the workforce unjustly, and it pulled them away from their ability to be mothers. The result.
The role of women is not just to be mothers. You're just saying like, oh, women are.
No, it's just one of the most sacred roles that you could ever bestow.
Yeah, and if someone chooses to get an abortion, let them get an abortion. Abort that fetus. If someone chooses,
to put them up, are we going to spurg out into abortion right now? I thought we were talking about feminism.
We're talking about feminism. I'm going to mute you because you interrupted me, and I thought you just like got mad at me and became a snowflake, like for me interrupting you. Right? You're saying that like the most sacred role is being a mother. Sure. But if someone doesn't want to be a mother and let's say like they get pregnant, they don't want to be a mother, let them have an abortion, and then after let them work. Okay? Like sure, you can say like being a mother is this amazing thing, being a father is this amazing thing, right? Why don't you say the same thing about like the fathers, right? In this instance, like why can't that like the fathers, quite frankly, right? Or why don't they just like abort that fetus, quite frankly? That's another solution. Or You just let them work. Like, you're saying the feminist movement caused women to be sad. What's your source? Sent you an invite to unmute. You're gonna have to click accept on the phone screen. Dun 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 dun.
You had to mute me.
Because you interrupted me and you became a snowflake last time and you called me out.
Interrupted you? You've been the criminal of interruption in this.
Oh, I'm a criminal. Sure.
It should have been when a civil debate, and then you had to spurg out and spin around into other subjects, and you haven't even approached the thing that I said.
Yeah, I mean, if you want me to recap what I just said, I can do that for you.
What you mean, like where you just gallivant and rally into new subjects entirely instead of approaching the argument that I made?
Yeah, what's the argument that you made? Go ahead.
Again, since the feminist movement, women have been disproportionately sadder on more prescription drugs and more suicide, disproportionately more so than men, and it has ultimately been bad for women on the net total.
Sure. Okay, so you made a claim about suicide disproportionately more than men. Are you just claiming in general women commit more suicide than men?
No, that's not the claim.
Are you saying okay? So
that would be a straw man.
So then, yeah, no, that's not a straw man. You need to clarify. And you need to stop being disingenuous and dense. So when you make the claim about suicide, you need to explicitly say your claim. You need to say women since the 1970s have committed more suicides disproportionately than men. Okay, you can't just say women commit more suicides than men disproportionately. You need to stop being disingenuous and clarify that. B. What is your source?
Well, you already knew what I meant. You just did that in order to have like a debate point on your roster.
No, it's not a debate point. I genuinely was curious if you thought that women commit more suicide than men. I did not know your stance.
No, I said no multiple times. So it's actually you're being disingenuous by trying to claim that I said the opposite.
What is your? I didn't.
I looked at national surveys.
Ask a clarifying question.
Literally, I looked at national surveys. It wasn't very difficult.
Which survey?
Okay, well, let me pull it up. You've been sitting on here for a while, and you're well stocked with arguments. But I will pull it up for you.
Sure. Sure, you guys are double tapping that phone skip if you have not already. Repost, like, share, live, do all the wonderful things. If you're over on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up as well. There's a poll in the YouTube comment section. You guys want to support the live link tree in the description of the YouTube stream, as well as the TikTok bio as well. If you are a Trump supporter, you think men are better at leading than women, or you think it's wrong to be gay, join up in the guest box. I would love to talk to you, love to debate with you, love to have a conversation with you. Right, frankly. Dun 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 dun. All right, buddy.
Oh, I thought we were doing that together that time. Or was that just a way to try to throw me off my center?
No, that's just a way for me to, like, I had nothing else to say.
Yeah, I understand, man. I mean, you seem intelligent and civil, so
listen, you can take your time. I can let someone else up in the meantime.
Okay, so the happiness decline. Economists Betsy Stevenson and Justin Wolfers documented the paradox of declining female happiness in 2009. In the 1970s, early second wave feminism, U.S. women reported higher subjective well-being than men. By mid-2000s, this reversed. Women's happiness fell both absolutely and relative to men's, despite gains in education, earnings, legal rights, and workforce participation. This
Are you looking at the PDF?
Holds. This is law.yale.
Yeah, is it the PDF? Is it the paradox of declining female happiness? Is it that one?
Yes.
Perfect. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure I was on the right source. Continue.
Sure. Okay, so they've reported roughly twice the rate of depression as men for decades. a consistent gender gap with biological, hormonal, and social factors. Reported prevalence has risen over time for both sexes, but sharper increases appear in recent decades among younger women, especially post-2010, coinciding with social media. The CDC data shows higher diagnosis rates in women, with adolescent girls showing notable spikes. Now, critics will argue feminism's emphasis on career over family, delayed marriage, childbearing, and redefined gender roles contributed to this by increasing stress and reducing traditional sources of fulfillment. Supporters point to better diagnosis awareness, economic pressures, and lingering inequalities. Now, no one should say women shouldn't have an opportunity. It's back to you and me. Women should absolutely be able to perform. Should there be a woman president? There ought to be able to be one.
Sure.
However, when society pushes them to not have children, and when society pushes them to prioritize college at their young age, and when society pushes them
I just
to
have a question.
prioritize career over their own ability to have
we're
children.
Not pressuring. Society isn't pressuring them.
They absolutely are. That was the result. No, that's the message, and you even said it. They said it. You even said it. You're like, oh, we should just have abortions.
Yeah. So no, I didn't say we should. I didn't say we should have abortions. I said if women want to have abortions, let them have abortions. If they want to have kids, let them have kids. If they want to have kids, as soon as they're like 18, 19, 20 years old, let them have kids. If they want to go to the workforce, let them go to the workforce. We're not trying to pressure anyone. The same with like stay-at-home dads, stay-at-home moms, right?
Have you witnessed?
I completely want to point out something. Talisman, your quote is that women should be in the household. They should be this. If anybody's pressuring anyone to do anything, it's going to be you.
Nope. Yeah, I didn't say.
You said, quote unquote,
that's verbatim. That's not what I said.
Quote unquote verbatim.
That's not what I said. It was. I said that culture is implying that women should be in the workforce inherently.
Yeah, that is the patriarchy. But guess what?
You're welcome. You live in a patriarchy and you're welcome.
Right to work.
You live in a patriarchy and you're welcome.
We have the right to work.
Existed because of forced doctrine.
Land. We have the right to own bank accounts. We have the right to have credit cards. We have the right to take out mortgages in our own names. We don't have to have men decide these things for us. So guess what? And I also want to point out something as well. Your study is from 2009, 2010. Where's the new data?
Yeah. I was gonna point to that. That doesn't make the study
irrelevant.
I want to know what the new data is.
It's gotten worse. It's gotten
worse.
No,
where's the new data on that? I don't find anything with new data on that.
That study is relevant enough.
I also want to point out something else that you said earlier. By the way, did you know that spurging out, quote unquote, is actually a slur towards the autistic community? I would appreciate it if you didn't actually use that term if you are yourself not autistic.
Are you going to spurg out if I talk about people spurging out?
Please don't do that. That's seriously disingenuous.
No, you're just going to virtue signal and get in there and pull one of those cards.
No, I'm autistic. And you know what? Whenever somebody says that you're spurging out, that really pisses me the fuck off because you don't understand the context behind that. You don't understand the fucking absolute nightmare that was caused by that man, by the Yahtzee official that created those terms. That's why we don't call it Asperger's syndrome anymore. It's just autism spectrum disorder because Dr. Ost, the German scientist that created autism, he was a Yahtzee. So I'd appreciate it if you didn't use such derogatory language towards people. It is just a sign of emotional intelligence that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And again, like I said, using sources from 2009 that are, technically biased, that don't look at all the numbers, and also just one woman out of maybe thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands, doesn't mean that we all think this way. So I just, your facts are everywhere. They're not studied. They're not learned. They're not, applied to real life consequence and action. You're using data that's from 2009. You're not looking at the new age data. I want to talk about this as well because you brought up suicidality rates. Men hold the higher suicidality rate in 2025. That is of last year.
That doesn't disprove my point.
Yes, it does disprove your point.
No, it does not.
Women are doing it more.
Again, you're doing false equivalence.
Nope.
You're trying to say
that false equivalence. You said that women are higher on the suicidality rate.
No, I didn't.
Than men.
Are we explaining this 3 times? Are you going to keep up with the classroom? Or are you going to keep pulling out that card over and over?
I heard everything. I wrote it down. Okay,
so why don't we ask the host? Host, Steelman, what I said.
Yeah, in reference to what, bud? So I haven't been paying attention.
was I saying that women have more suicide than men?
Since 1970, you said yes. 1970 is what you
No, I
said.
said that there was a disproportional increase in it, and then I read you
Men
a
hold
well-worded
the higher
report.
end.
I
So
read
Men
you a
hold
well,
the higher
lady.
end.
Are you gonna let people finish their sentence? Or
Are you gonna let me finish?
are you gonna prove the argument why men are better at leading than women by freaking out?
We already proved that women have more higher emotional intelligence than you do. Because you can only resort to insults that have to deal with the autistic community, and you want to claim that men have the higher EQ than you do.
Wait! I thought you asked me to stop
punch a
using
hole in a
that
wall
word,
because
and
they
then I
lost a
did,
Fortnite
didn't I?
match?
Didn't you
Who's
ask
more
me to stop using
proportionate?
that word, and then I stopped?
Who's more proportionate to punch a hole in a wall because they lost a video game? Is it men or women?
Men are more aggressive.
Yes, but guess what? That goes to your EQ.
Yeah, emotional intelligence.
And it still doesn't disprove my point.
Yes, it does. It absolutely does. It disproves
This guest does
every
not
point
get
you
it.
have.
But listen. I maybe didn't word it as well as Bumblebee did, but like, this guest does not get it. I don't think this guest is ever gonna get it. I'm gonna move on to the next guest, Tailsman. You have a wonderful night. You have the date you deserve. You have the day you deserve. Moving on to the next guest. How's it going? What do you want to talk about? Hello, what do you want to talk about?
Yeah, we could do like the bottom prompt.
Yeah, you think it's wrong to be gay?
Absolutely.
Okay, why?
The Bible says so.
First off, have you ever looked at a man and felt an attraction towards a man?
No, not in this context.
In general, have you ever looked at a man and felt an attraction towards a man?
Yeah, not like a romantic attraction, no.
I also want to ask which Bible verse says that it's wrong specifically to be gay, because in Aramaic and Greek, back in those times, they didn't actually have a word for gay.
Right, they use like the word arsenokotai, which is...
That does not translate to gay.
Literally, it translates to like lying with men.
No, it does not. That is a mistranslation by the Catholic Church in England.
No, that would be incorrect. So the reason that translates that way is based on the Old Testament in Leviticus. The Septuagint.
Yeah, the King James Version says man shall not lie with man, when the roughly translation of that word means man shall not lie with boy.
No, again,
to prove that like the translation has been correct throughout 2,000 years plus.
Again, so if I may continue.
Yeah, go ahead.
The reason that word is used there is because in the Old Testament, if you're familiar with the Septuagint, which is the Greek translation of the Old Testament pre-Christ, it used arsenokotai to talk about homosexuality. Like I believe it's Leviticus 18.
No, it talks about man lying with boys. It talks about pedophilia.
Leviticus?
Yep. Yes, Leviticus. Yes.
Can you justify that?
They're talking about pedophilia, not gay.
Can you justify that?
Again, because Aramaic did not have a word for gay.
Okay, this is Hebrew.
Hebrew did not have a word for gay.
There's also a word for like being a PDF filer attracted to children, and it's not used here either. So that doesn't really make any sense. Could you justify why you think the proper translation is a man?
Also, the Old Testament wasn't written in Greek, by the way.
I said, so you're not familiar with the Septuagint, which is okay. The Septuagint was a Greek translation of the Old Testament.
Yes,
and
but
it was
guess
used
what? That was
in
a
scholarship.
mistranslation.
That was
a mistranslation because, again, Aramaic doesn't have a word for gay.
Hold on. So, again, the Septuagint was used by scholarship in the time of Jesus. Also, Leviticus is in Hebrew, not Aramaic.
Jesus was Aramaic. He was Palestinian Aramaic.
Okay, that's true.
He spoke Aramaic. There is no word in Aramaic for gay, so therefore it is a mistranslation and a misquote from the Greek to then the English, or to the Latin and then to English.
Well, that's not accurate at all.
Also, I want to quickly point out something. Churches are extremely biased. So when King James wrote the King James Bible...
argument, please?
No, when King James wrote the quote-unquote King James version of the Bible, he was extremely homophobic. He was extremely anti-woman. He mistranslated things because guess what? There is no words for these in the Bible. During those times, there was no word for gay.
So, Bumblebee, I appreciate your opinion.
I also want to point out that word that you keep bringing up.
May I?
No. I want to point out.
No, I'm not allowed.
That word that
can you control your mod, please? Like, we're not having a productive conversation here. She's straw manning me.
Do whatever I want.
No,
I'm going to straw man your straw man because you are trying to use words that you don't understand. If anything, that word that you are trying to reference,
like, who cares about the King James?
That word that you're trying to reference is talking about male prostituting. That is the closest thing that we can talk about.
Can you show me that in Leviticus 18? I've asked you multiple times to justify.
If you want to quote Leviticus, why don't we quote Leviticus? Why don't we quote Leviticus where it talks about like enslaved individuals 25?
Yeah, so you want to go ahead and run from the argument. So you do concede then?
Oh, no, I don't concede, but there's
okay. Then address Leviticus 18:22.
You just quite frankly, I'll address that once you address Leviticus 25. So if you want to say that being like gay is wrong,
so that's a concession and you're running.
Yeah, buddy, shut up. You just complained about being interrupted, and about being strawmanned. So how about you shut up? Stay in your place and be quiet like the good little boy that you are.
I got
buddy.
you. Go.
Shut up. Yeah, shut up. You interrupt me one more time, I'll count that as a concession. I'll count that as running. You don't talk until I tell you to talk, or I count that as running.
That's
you understand? Crazy. I need a yes or no.
Yeah, I understand what you said, bro.
Good boy. Now shut up and don't talk until I tell you to. Do not unmute until I tell you to. If you want to say that being gay is wrong, as soon as you say that it's justified to enslave individuals, as soon as you let them recover after a day or two, then I will say I will concede that yes, Leviticus does say that in accordance with the mistranslation of the Bible. So as soon as you addressed Leviticus 25:44 through 46, we can have that conversation.
Okay,
so I want to see your perspective. I didn't tell you to talk, did I?
Yeah, you wanted me to.
You can talk. Yeah, go ahead. You can talk.
Perfect, bro. So it's okay. It's a bit of a tracking issue. So I'm going to recap because I'm not saying that homosexuality is wrong because Leviticus says so. That's not my argument. Now, it's repeated in the New Testament. Now, the reason Bumblebee had an issue is because of the translation of the word arsenokortai in the New Testament. And I'm giving the justification for the proper translation based on Leviticus, okay? So I am not saying that everything Leviticus says goes today as a Christian. Obviously, we don't believe that as Christians.
Okay, where in the New Testament does it say that? That being gay is wrong? Where? Where in the New Testament? Go ahead. Yeah, where in the New Testament does it say that? I don't have it on hand. Sure. Romans, Corinthians, which one, buddy?
Again, arsenokotai roughly translates to male prostitute. It does not mean gay.
Can you justify that, please? Like you said that multiple times. I can't remember if arsenokotai used in both passages or just one. I got to remind myself. If you have the actual verse,
so which version of the Bible are we using? King James, right?
No, I never said King James. That was a straw man by Bumblebee.
Okay, which version of the Bible are we using?
King James is the most relevant version.
How's it the most relevant? I'm referring to the Greek, so it's not like an English translation problem.
Oh, so you're using like the Old Testament. You're not using the New Testament, which is what all Christians nowadays go with.
What do you mean by Old Testament? I'm referring to the Greek writings of like Paul, namely, and when we refer to Romans. And
so New Testament or Old Testament, which one? Because New Testament is what everybody listens to nowadays.
So the writings of Paul is the New Testament.
Okay, so then you're talking about King James Version. Okay.
What?
So then you're talking about the
Wait,
new
do you think Paul wrote in English?
No, you're talking about the King James
translations.
Version.
Obviously we have to have it relevant to the language that we speak or the translation, right?
No, I don't read out of the King James. What?
Then which Bible are you talking about? Which Bible are you referencing?
Yeah, I'm referencing the writings of Paul.
No, not the writings. Which Bible are you pulling your information from? New King James Version.
Hold on. Do you read the Bible? Do you read the Bible?
Yeah, I'm not pulling my information from an English translation. I'm pulling my information from the Greek.
So which Greek Bible are you pulling it from?
Which Greek Bible? I'm confused by your question. Like, what are the options here? Like the original writings of Paul, like the manuscripts we have?
If you don't know which Bible you are reading from, that is an issue.
Gotta clarify. So you don't read like an English Bible?
I do read an English Bible. The argument is based in the Greek. Is that a problem? Do you reject the Greek?
Do I reject the Greek? I never said I do. I'm just asking you a question, buddy.
Right, that's what I asked, if you rejected the Greek, because you hadn't said so explicitly, but you're hinting that you do. So that's why I asked you. Could you be respectful and honest and answer my question or no?
Yeah, buddy. As soon as you stop being a snowflake, buddy, of course.
A snowflake? Because I've asked you to justify your translation.
Give me the verse in the Bible that says in the New Testament it's wrong to be gay. Go ahead.
Yeah, bro. So let me pull up the specific verse number. I don't have it on hand. So in the meantime, while I'm pulling that up, could you justify your translation of Leviticus 18:22? Hopefully she's off app because she's looking it up, which is fine.
Yeah, you should also be off app to look up the verse, buddy.
Arsenicotype means male. I did go off app just for a minute to look it up. It means male and bed layer. So that could mean anything. They don't exactly specify what that exactly means in the Bible, because that could mean male prostitution. That could mean gay. That could mean male lying with boy, aka pedophilia. They don't clarify that in the Bible, though, because guess what? It's a mistranslation.
So yeah, I mean, we can definitely look at the context to see what we're referring to.
What was more prevalent in Aramaic days, being gay or having male prostitution? Because in Roman and Greek culture, there were actually gay prostitutes.
Okie dokie. So when we go to...
There were also young men that were used as prostitutes during those days as well. So that could mean that as well. We don't know what that exact word means. Because from Old Aramaic, which nobody speaks anymore, by the way, it's now Arabic. It's no longer Aramaic.
That's not exactly, like, Arabic is not a descendant of Aramaic. They're like cousin languages or sibling languages.
They're cousin languages. So therefore, nobody speaks Aramaic.
Right, not anymore.
Yeah, so we don't have anyone to base this off of. We have a rough Greek translation, which is then written into Latin, which is then written into English. So there's at least 4 or 5 different languages that this is translated into over the centuries that this Bible has been around. We don't know what the original root word meant.
Well, so I think I urge you to study like biblical history.
I already have.
Because you just asserted that every single English translation is based on the Latin Vulgate. Do you know what the Latin Vulgate is? Do you know who wrote the Latin Vulgate?
I don't care who the fuck
well,
wrote the Latin
because
Vulgate.
you claim that every English translation came from the Latin Vulgate written by Jerome,
I have friends of mine that have looked into this and studied this for their whole lives. I have literally sat with them and asked them, what does this word mean? And they say, they don't know. The Greeks did not know. There was no word for it in their language. So they came up with a rough translation of what they were describing. That is how all language is described. Because words in English don't mean the same thing in Spanish, don't mean the same thing in Portuguese, don't mean the same thing in Latin. We don't know what that word originally meant. And there is no context before it or after it to explain what that was.
So yeah, when we look at Leviticus 18, there actually is quite a bit of context.
No, it does not. In reference does not. It just says, don't lie with don't lie with man. That does not mean prostitute. That does not mean don't lie with a man selling himself. That does not mean don't lie with a man under the age of 18. That doesn't mean anything. It just says don't lie with a man. There's no context before or afterwards to describe what that word means. And there are no translations of what arsenicotype meant.
So a few inaccurate things there. So we know the translation of arsenicotype, which is the Hebrew, right? We know it was a translation of the Hebrew. So it's actually very well known what is being referred to here. And the context actually does show exactly what we're referring to. We see...
And how do you know that that's not bias of the church?
Because I'm not citing the church. What?
I know, but the church is where the ultimate translation of these words come from. So how do you know that this Greek translation is not the bias of that church at the time?
The translation doesn't come from the church. What are you talking about?
Yes, it does.
What are you talking about?
It's the ultimate interpreter. The Bible is the word of the church.
Are you referring to
that's why you have differences in which Bible you read.
I don't submit to Rome. I don't know if you're referring to papal authority. That's a weird thing to say.
Then you're not Christian. If you don't, then you don't submit to the church. Then you're not Christian.
Okay. So the church agrees with me on this position. So it's kind of weird for you to say that if you want to use the church as the authority. But neither of us accept the church as an authority. So we're going to move on, and I'm going to actually address your claim.
All right. So you concede. All right. Thank you. Thank you for playing.
That's kind of weird of you to say.
You
in this
conceded.
passage,
Thanks for playing.
No, that's a concession.
You said, I want to move on. You concede.
Yeah, if you do want to move on
from the church argument, which is a straw man.
If you do want to move on, you still need to answer my question about which verse. Okay,
No,
it's been
I'm not moving on. I'm not moving on. You
literally said I want to move on,
point.
quote unquote.
Not from the broad point, from the specific argument about the church, because it's a straw man, and neither of us follow
but do you have your verses?
Yeah, we can do the 1 Corinthians one. It's chapter 6. Is it verse 9?
Okay, you can continue with the debate with Bumblebee. Go ahead.
I got nothing else. He conceded. That's all right. He wants to move on.
I didn't concede the...
You did. You said that I want to move on. That's a concession.
Yeah, from the church argument, which was a straw man that neither of us follow. So that's really weird that you are like running away with that. It's really dishonest of you. I'm interested in actually having...
No, it's dishonest of you to be using a mistranslation and then not give us which Bible you're reading from, because context matters in which book you are reading from.
I'm reading from the manuscripts.
So wait, hold on. Which verses real quick? With numbers?
Numbers?
1 Corinthians 6 what?
Verse 9 is the
just
verse
9?
that mentions it. Verse 9 is the verse that mentions...
Is it just 9 you want me to read?
Oh, you can read it? Sure. Like, we can bring up multiple, but there's really only...
Right. So how about we read 9 through 11, where in 11 it says, and that is what some of you were, but you were washed, you were sanctified, you were justified in the name of the Lord of Jesus Christ by the Spirit of our God. Right. Take a look at what the next verse says. So I can read the whole thing. Or do you not know that wrongdoers will not inherit the kingdom of God? Do not be deceived. Neither sexually immoral or adulterers, nor men who have sex with men, nor thieves, nor the greedy, nor the drunkards, nor slanderers, nor swindlers will inherit the kingdom of God. The next verse says, and that is what some of you were, but you were washed, you were sanctified, you were justified in the name of the Lord of Jesus Christ by the Spirit of our God.
So what's the argument here?
Yeah, the argument is that it literally says in verse 11 that it literally says, and I quote, and that is what some of you were, but you were washed, you were sanctified, you were justified in the name of the Lord of Jesus Christ. You were justified in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ and by the Spirit of our God. There's justification in verse 11, buddy. Quote unquote, and you were justified.
And so you just kind of read the verse again when I asked for like what the argument is. So are you trying to say
it literally says it's
that gay people can be saved?
No, it says that it's justified in the Bible.
Justified to be gay?
Yes. That is what verse 11 says. It doesn't just reference being gay, but it references that. Quite frankly, that's what your Bible says, and you were justified.
It's not. So in this
passage, you denying that verse 11 says you were justified? Wow.
No, your claim is that they're justified because they're gay, which is like inaccurate.
I never said that. I said that everything that the verse 9 and 10 mentions, it says, and you were justified in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ and by the Spirit of our God.
Oh, so so in justification is not referring to saying that they are right to do their acts. Justification is about salvation. So I guess that's the confusion.
Justification is salvation. So didn't Jesus Christ die on the cross for our sins, buddy?
What is your question? Did Jesus Christ die for our sins? Yeah. What?
Yeah. So there's the.
Did you understand? Hold on. Did you understand what I said?
Yes, I did. You're saying it's not justification. You're just
no. What did I say?
Yeah, repeat what you said, buddy.
When it refers to justification, it's not saying that their acts are righteous. It's saying that they are saved, that this is the reason they are saved, is because they were washed. Because of what Christ did.
Right, the sins were washed,
justification
right?
is a term.
Hold on. Everything that it mentions was washed. Everything that it mentions. It says the sexually immoral, men who have sex with men, or the thieves, or the greedy, or the drunkards.
I asked you if you were saying that gay people can be saved, and you said no.
I never said no. What?
Yes, I asked you that question. You said no. Okay, that's fine.
No.
Maybe we misspoke.
Hold on. Anyone who commits a sin, besides blasphemy, according to the Christian perspective, can be saved.
Correct.
I never denied that. Why are you being disingenuous? You're being obtuse.
Hold on, no, you might have misspoke. You're
genuinely being obtuse right now.
No, that's fine if it was a mistake or whatever.
I didn't make a mistake. You are just misinterpreting what I said.
No, it's okay. Maybe I misheard. Maybe you spoke. Who knows?
No, you did mishear because I know what I said, and I did not deny that. Why would I ever deny that? That's like the most saying that someone can't be saved from a sin is the most like dumbest thing that any person can say in a religious debate. Why would I ever make that blunder, buddy? What?
Well, you've made a few
obtuse.
blunders already, so I haven't really put it past you. No, nobody disagrees that gay people can be saved. I'm confused on what the argument here is that disproves that.
You're the
that
one
being
who
gay is
said
wrong.
I said that. What the fuck? What are you
Well,
talking about?
You did, or maybe I misheard.
I did. Yeah, you misheard. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I misheard.
It's an option.
Okay, so now that we know that gay people can be saved, what's the problem?
They were saved. The problem is that the sins were washed.
But what's the problem with that? With what I'm saying?
It says you were washed. Verse 11.
You just keep repeating it. I'm asking you, what does that mean according to my argument?
You said, "What's the problem with what I'm saying?" And then you asked me, "What does that mean?" That's the first time you asked me what's I mean. That's the first time you asked me.
That's what I'm asking when I say, "What's the problem?" Is I'm asking you to address my argument using that verse, but you're just repeating it over and over again. So can you please track?
Sure. You repeat your argument then? Go ahead. You're just saying that it's salvation. Like what? I already addressed this. The fact that Jesus Christ died on the cross for our sins and that the sins were washed.
My argument is that the Bible teaches being gay is wrong.
Yeah,
so
you have failed to prove that. You have failed to prove when you're referencing that the Bible says that being gay is wrong. You're referencing verse 9 and 10, but you're skipping over verse 11 where it says, "But you were washed, you were sanctified, you were justified in the name of the Lord of Jesus Christ and by the Spirit of our God."
You won't explain why verse 11 is a defeater.
Yeah, because it's referencing homosexuality, quote unquote, as well as many other sins, where it says you were washed. So when you're referencing that the Bible says being wrong is gay, first off, Bumblebee already disproved you on Leviticus. Second off, when you're referencing Corinthians 1:6, 9 and 10, you're skipping over 11, which is dishonest and obtuse.
I still want to know which Bible he's reading from. The Bombas?
Wait, continue. Hold on. Host didn't finish. Tell me why verse 11 disproves my point. You haven't told me why.
Because it says that the sins were washed, buddy.
What does that mean according to my argument?
Do you not know what it means to be like to have the blood of Jesus Christ like wash your sins and like make you pure? Do you not know what that means?
Yeah. Do you think sins are good because they were washed?
Do I think sins are good because they were washed?
That's what you're trying to assert, is that being gay is not wrong because they were washed. That's what you're trying to tell me.
That's what the Bible says in verse 11.
Okay, so the answer to my question is yes, you think that sinning is okay because it's washed.
It's due to interpretation, however you want to interpret the Bible. We all can.
Well, that's how you are saying you're interpreting the Bible, is that sinning is okay.
I'm simply reading what it says. If you interpret it that way, then you obviously think that being gay is right.
Let me ask a clarifying question. Do you
believe... You're like pro-LGBTQ now.
What? Do you believe that according to the Bible, that sinning is okay? Is that what your belief is?
I believe that according to the Bible, that sinning is okay.
Yeah, is that what you think the Bible teaches?
No, that's not what the Bible teaches, buddy.
Okay, so you just refuted your own argument. So go ahead and address...
Yeah, can you steal my argument?
Yeah, your argument was because they were washed, the sin is okay. That was what your argument was. And then you said that sinning is not okay. So now that we know that even though sins are bad, it was washed.
Hold on.
So can we agree that homosexuality is a sin and that's bad?
The steel man to my argument was, quote, because they were washed, it's okay to sin. That was your steel man to my argument?
Yep, that's what your claim was, which is why I asked the clarifying question, and then you immediately refuted yourself because you realized it was a major blunder.
No, that wasn't my claim.
So, okay, you agree then that sinning is bad, and it's a good thing that they were washed away, yes? Because we want to be free of sin, yes? Is homosexuality a sin according to the Bible?
Can you first steal man my original position?
Jeremiah,
you're steal man my original position, because that was a straw man. That was not a steel man, that was a straw man. So I'd like you to steel man my position again, please. Do it correctly.
Yeah, your argument is that according to verse 11, the sins were washed, so therefore it's okay to be gay.
Did I ever say that? Did I ever say that? Did I? Hold on.
Yeah, put it together because it was a perfect steel man of your argument. So go ahead and refute.
No, it wasn't. It's not just talking about being gay. It's talking about multiple other sins. So what do you interpret verse 11 to be?
Are we talking about being gay or no?
What do you interpret? We're talking about the Bible. What do you interpret? What do you interpret verse?
No,
11
we're talking about why is it wrong?
Sure. What do you interpret verse 11 to be?
Yeah, meaning that the sins of those people that Paul's referring to are washed away and they are in heaven.
Okay.
Okay, so the sins are still
how are they
bad,
washed
right?
away? How are they washed away?
By the grace of Christ.
By the grace of Christ. Like how though? Like you're just saying by the grace of Christ, like sins are just like as soon as you commit a sin, like it's just washed away?
No, so through repentance and
okay, there you go, buddy. Come on, let's stop being obtuse and disingenuous. Through repentance. Okay, so you think
there's nothing wrong with what I said before.
Washed,
you're just
you said through the grace of Christ. When I asked you, how do you have your sins quote unquote washed away, right? The answer would be repentance, right?
Well, the function that actually washes them is the grace of Christ, which is why that was my answer.
But oh my god, you're so fucking dumb, bro.
Like,
I still want to know which translation he was reading from: the Bombas, the Vamvas, the Septuagint, Nessa Alam Novum Testament Greke, the Greek New Testament, the Tyndale House, Greek New Testament, or the Textus Recepticus. I still want to know which one he was reading from.
He's so fucking dumb.
So disingenuous. Also, there is no word in the Greek language for what bed layer means. Bed layer could be that you're married, or it could mean prostitution.
So obviously, that guy's like disingenuous.
Again, he wouldn't even answer with which Bible he was reading from. So, I mean,
no, but I love when people quote this verse because it literally it contradicts their own claim in literally verse 11, and then it continues in verse 12. It continues in verse 12.
I love how like they're like, well, it just says it in the Bible that a man can't lie with man, when that word was mistranslated to hell and back. We don't know what the ancient word for that Aramaic word was used for. We know what the Greek word was used for, but even then, that just means male bed layer. So that could just be a male prostitute.
Said it contradicts, but hasn't explained how. Yeah, buddy, I'm sorry that you can't keep track. The reason I said it contradicts is because it literally says in verse 11. I'm reading verse 11, and you can interpret it however you want to interpret.
Also, cherry picking the Bible is not good for you.
Right. But yeah, verse 11, it says, your sins were washed, you were sanctified, you were justified in the name of the Lord of Jesus Christ. And then you said, well, how do we get sanctified? How do we get washed? And then you say, by the grace of God. Right? And then that was your obtuse answer. So then I clarified, okay, well, how do we like achieve this grace of God that like cleanses us, that makes us
I wish I lived closer. I wish I lived closer to my aunt, who is a nun and has been for the last 80 years. This lady is literally the version of the Bible. And what's really funny is she says, if you don't sin a little bit in your life, Jesus died for nothing. So listen, OG nun. OG nun.
If you don't sin a little in your life, you died for nothing.
Listen,
Jesus died for...
Listen, and you know what? I also use the same argument because
I bet Zach is fuming right now.
I know he really is. It's really funny. So in order to get my aunt to agree, because my mom said that I can't get tattoos unless my aunt, who is the nun, agrees to it, because my mother, trusts what the nun says. And she said, if you can't get your aunt to agree with you on getting a tattoo, you can't get a tattoo. You want to know what I said? I said, you ever been to the Vatican in Rome? And she goes, of course I have. And I'm like, okay, well, you know how they're covered in like naked pictures of men and women and children? And she goes, yeah, I know how that is. And I'm like, I'm not going to get those tattoos on my body because they're not very tasteful. And she goes, okay. And then I go, I'm going to get stuff that actually means something and that are going to be tasteful. And, because, our bodies are temples and so is the Vatican. So I'm going to cover myself in tasteful art. And she goes, you know what? You're lucky you're not my kid, but that is actually a really good argument. So guess what? I got the nun to agree with me.
That's a W. I was going to say something else. Also, you'd have to like justify Christianity too. I'm not going to lie.
Mm-hmm.
Justify Christianity. How's it going, man? What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, so I just wanted to just ask a question. Oh, we'll get into it, but I just want to ask a question, right? Do you believe that male privilege exists?
Yes.
Either you or Bumblebee. Okay. Yeah. Do you believe that white male privilege exists?
Yes.
Okay.
Were you up here yesterday?
Yeah, he was.
No, what? I was
Yes,
never. I've never been on this live in my life.
Oh, yes, you were, brother. Oh,
My
it's
name is.
you. It's you.
Wait,
You're the one
wait.
who thinks that like white men are gonna like die off and that's a bad thing, like the
No,
white
I'm a black
supremacy.
guy. See what? I would never think that. I don't
Oh,
think that.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
what?
You have the same username as like the
Oh
last guy
no, I
says up here
just had to.
because you
I'm
asked the
using
same
my
question
other
that they
account
did. Sure.
because I, for some reason, can't like join lives on my
You're good.
STM
So
retro
yeah,
thing.
sorry everything. You guys also sound the same. But take it away. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, no. I first of all, I just want to say I do not believe that white men are dying. Oh, I'm a black man and I'm pro-black. But anyway, so I just wanted to say though, right? So yeah, we believe that white male privilege exists and male
Yeah.
privilege exists.
Sure.
So would you believe that is a man who transitions to a woman, or I'm sorry, a woman that a man that transitions to a woman, right, is a woman, right?
Trans women are women. Yes.
Okay. So how can it be that an oppressed class can transition, an oppressor class can transition into an oppressed class?
Because they're part of the LGBTQIA, which has historically
I don't
been oppressed even further than women.
Yeah, I don't understand the I don't understand the question. The LGBT community is like oppressed.
Okay, so let me explain it better. Okay, when you say oppressed, right?
Uh-huh.
Oppression.
You guys demonize like trans people.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly, right?
Right.
So if somebody were, I'm a black man, okay? If somebody who hated black people came to my house and said, I'm going to unalive all the black people here, is there a way that I could convince him that I'm not black?
No. If
No.
you phenotypically show that it present as black, no.
Okay.
Also,
All
we gotta acknowledge that like race was created by white people. Race is
No,
like
I know,
a
but
social
so this is
construct
the argument
created
I'm
by white
making.
people.
I know this, yes. Of course.
Classism was also created by white people as well.
Yes.
Yeah, go
So
ahead,
the
take
reason
it.
why I'm even saying this is because if somebody were to come into my house and said, I'm going to kill unalive all the gay people in here, is there a way that I could prove to him that I'm not gay?
Not really. Not whenever they're in that hateful, spiteful rage.
No,
if they
no.
have any form of
Please be genuine.
Hold on.
Please be genuine.
I
Is there a way
am.
to prove that you're not? I don't. What is the
Like,
point
what
of
are
this?
you gonna
I'm
have?
saying
Like,
this.
what
The
are you gonna
reason
go
why
lay
I'm
on the
saying
floor
this-
and have sex with a woman right then and there? No, they don't care. If they're showing up at your house, they already have the provocation to be like, I suspect that
So
you're
I'm
already
saying this
gay.
is hypothetical.
Can I ask a clarifying? Like, what is the point of this? I'm confused.
Exactly. So this is what I'm saying. The reason why I'm saying this is because when you say, okay, that a white man who objectively is at the top of the food chain, okay, who is non-oppressed, can say that now I am an oppressed class, I am a woman, I am an oppressed class, and saying
Trans
that
people are
his
oppressed,
oppression.
yes.
Hey,
Yes.
user, have you ever heard of the? Have you ever heard of? I want to hit you with this real quick.
Can I please let this finish?
I want to hit you with this real quick. Have you ever heard? This is a term that I have heard multiple times, and I am a white woman. Okay, I am already disenfranchised as a woman. I am even more disenfranchised as a disabled woman. There is a ongoing joke, and I hear it all the time, is that the best way for a white person in this country to become part of a minority is to either become part of the LGBTQIA or to become disabled.
Yeah.
So when you're arguing with like the trans people thing, you automatically become a part of the minority when you step outside of those social bounds, because it is a patriarchy, a very hateful patriarchy.
Yes.
Cisgender men.
So
So
can
we're
I
talking about
say-
cisgender.
You say that we have a hateful patriarchy. What is the prerequisites, right, of making a person a part of a hateful patriarchy? Like, what makes them the patriarch? What is making them a patriarch, a white patriarch? Because that's what we're talking about, is white men.
Oppression of women, oppression of other social classes, minorities, oppression of anybody that is not like them and cannot be like them.
Yeah.
So are you saying that this person is white, or just anybody that does this?
Anybody.
Okay. So you're saying
that's why black women are the most disenfranchised in this country. Because number one, they are a woman, and number two, they are black.
Okay.
It is a patriarchy. It is a racism problem. It is a homophobia, transphobia.
I don't understand his art. I need him. Like, I need you to like.
I can't even allow you to understand it, because every time I'm about to finish,
Sure,
I get
finish
cut
your
off.
point. Finish your point. We want to interrupt. Just continue with what you're saying. I'm not sure if you're like trying to like be transphobic or what you're trying to do, but just finish your point. We want to interrupt you because I'm confused on where this is going.
So So all I'm saying is that it is completely disingenuous to women to say that the man, a white man, can decide that he is now a part of an oppressive class, something that he can, if it comes down to, because you gotta think about it, right? As a black man, survival comes first. Any person who's truly oppressed, survival comes first. Because it is a privilege to be talking about, oh, I want to thrive and all that stuff. That is a certain privilege. Even though we all deserve it, that's a privilege. Because some people, they just want to just survive, right?
Well, what's your point here with like bringing up trans people?
So the point I'm making is that if it's a privilege to thrive and it's our reality to just survive, if there is something that I can't change about myself, that I would, if it would make me survive, because I know, and deep down, there's a lot of black people, okay, who, if they could just change one day and not have to deal with oppression, they would. But the thing is, as a white man, you have the ability to hide those qualities about you, and therefore you
I understand what
be
you're saying.
oppressed.
Hold on. I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. Hold on. Let me address what you're saying. Let me
That
address
is
what you're
such a
saying real quick.
disgusting thing.
You're being transphobic right now. You're saying like you hate all trans people, blah blah blah. Yeah, all this transphobic like rhetoric. Sure. Let me just address what you're saying.
I don't.
You're saying it's
I'm not
disingenuous for like
afraid, or I
you're
don't hate them.
disingenuous. You're saying it's disingenuous for like men quote unquote become part of the LGBTQ community and be like trans women. Well, under my supposition or under my definition of woman is going to be like trans women are women, right? So A and B, trans people are oppressed, right? And then you could literally say that for like any other a group of individuals. So I don't understand your argument that you're making here. You're just saying
My
because
argument
trans
is
people,
I
because
can't
like
control being
because
black.
trans women, because like white trans women exist. They're like, how is that disingenuous? What? White
It's
trans women are oppressed because they are trans.
disingenuous
They're
because
oppressed.
if they are really in fear of their life, because let me tell you something, okay?
They are.
If
There
I'm
was just an
Yes.
LGBTQIA
Oh,
person
I get
unalive
it.
yesterday.
Oh, you're saying they're in fear for their lives. Why don't they just like detransition? Is that the argument you're trying to make?
No, I'm simply saying
What the fuck are you
that
saying?
I have to be something that I can't change, that I can't put chemicals in my body to change, and that could be the cause
You
of
don't
my
need to put
unaliving.
chemicals in your
They
bodies to
have
be
the
like
privilege.
trans.
They
You don't need
have
to
the
be
privilege
you don't need to put
to
chemicals
decide
in your
that they're-
bodies to like be trans.
I understand that, but
Such
they
thing
have
as
the
social
privilege.
transitioning.
Okay, that literally proves my point more.
But the thing, no.
I
But
can't
here's
social
the
transition
thing.
away from being
Here's
black.
the thing: when you choose to become part of the LGBTQIA, specifically the trans, individuals, you become ostracized from the individuals that you know. I myself have been ostracized by my family because I'm not trans, but I do choose to be a lesbian in my family.
Yes.
I don't
And
necessarily hate men, but I choose not to be with men. But
Yes.
my mother
And
is a
this-
Christian fundamentalist, and she does not like that I no longer fit into her worldview and her cookie cutter mold of what a woman should be.
Yes.
Women should be straight, men should be straight. That is how our society points it at. That is the patriarchy of our society.
But listen to what you said. You choose. You cannot choose to be a part of an oppressed class, or else you're not oppressed. Because the part of the whole definition of oppression is something that you cannot
people
control.
can't choose. Hold on, people can't choose to like. People can't choose to be gay, or people can't choose to like. It's not a choice, man.
Yeah, it's not a
So
choice.
you're saying that there is not a single person who's just chosen to be gay or chosen to be
No,
trans?
you cannot choose to be gay. Can you choose to be gay?
I don't find Jeremiah's attractive at all. I don't find men attractive.
User, can you choose to be gay? Yes or no?
You can choose to hide it for your own survival.
Can you choose to be gay?
No, but you can choose to hide it for your own
Perfect.
survival.
So you can't choose to be gay.
choice.
There you go. You cannot choose. Yes, you can choose. You can choose to be closeted. Absolutely. There's a choice that you can make. But that is because. Hold on. That is because people are hated on for being gay. Can you? Obviously, there's gonna be physical appearances when it comes to race, and then when it comes to sexuality.
Yes.
Right? Yes, that is a difference. You can be closeted. Yes, right. You obviously should tell people that you're straight, but in reality you're closeted. That is a reality, but that doesn't mean that they're not oppressed. That is insane to say.
Do you understand that most of these Republicans that are destroying this world and this country are closeted gay white men?
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
So,
yeah. What does that have anything to do?
That those people are an oppressed class?
They hate themselves.
Yes, that is true. But the reason why people are closeted, the reason why whenever they're closeted, they hate like trans people or like gay people, it's because of the way that they like were raised, right? That they were supposed to not like people that were like of the same gender, right? That's how they were raised.
So can I ask you,
Sure.
how can you explain to a black person who lives in the south side of Chicago, okay, whose family's on Section 8, who might not live to see 20 years old, how can you explain to him that a rich white person, okay, who decides, or not decides, who was just always a rich white man who was always a woman his whole life, how do you explain to him that you're oppressed, but they're also oppressed? Can you please tell me how you can explain that?
Because it is the case that both can be true at the same time. Black people can be oppressed as well as trans people.
Because let's remember this.
At the same time.
Let's remember this. The Republican white males, Republicans in general, let's just use this. Republicans in general like cookie cutter molds of everybody. All of their wives look exactly the same. All the men look exactly the same. They want people to look the same as them. They don't want people to be different. That's why they count on us as being called blue-haired liberals, because we want to be different from all the other people. We make an active choice to be different.
The answer to your question is two can be true at the same time. Both black people and trans people can be oppressed at the same time.
But so that's the thing is, this is what I'm saying. This two things can be the same at the same time. All that does is it waters down the people who are really oppressed. You know why I'm saying that? Because
that's like saying you can't. That's like saying you can't say women. Hold on. That's like saying you can't say women and black people aren't oppressed because then it waters down one or the other.
If you say white women, yes, because what oppression? The white woman is only oppressed by the white man. Only the woman of color is oppressed by every single man, and in their race.
We're also systematically oppressed too.
Women are oppressed.
White women?
Yes.
Okay, so what are the statistics of a white woman getting a job versus a black man?
Just take a look at the gender pay gap, gender wage gap, and the pink tax for feminine
and
products.
Guess what?
Typically masculine products are going to be more cheaper than
the gender
products.
The gender pay gap only.
Gender wage gap, yeah.
Yes, the gender wage gap. Let's look at that same statistic, right? And let's see it for black men. And that same thing.
I'm not denying that black men are. I'm not denying that they're oppressed.
Nobody's denying that black men and women are
denying that.
oppressed.
All I'm saying, hold on. All I'm saying is that there are groups of people that are oppressed within society because guess what? The system was built for white, cisgender, straight men who own land.
And women.
No.
The system.
Women didn't get the right to own bank accounts until the 1970s.
When did women get the right to vote? When did women get the right to vote?
1920s.
When did women? When did women get the right to own land? When was the Constitution? When was the Constitution made? 1776. Okay. In mid 1900s, also with the civil rights movement as well. That's when minorities started to were able to vote, own land, whatever. But the system itself, the Constitution, was made for white, straight, cisgender men who own land. Anyone else was oppressed.
So can I ask you this, right? Okay. If we live in a kingdom, okay, I'm giving you an analogy. If we live in a kingdom and you have the king and the king's courts, and then you have peasants. The peasants are poor, they get nothing, they're not fed, they're dying on the street. But in the king's courts, the king is nasty to people in his courts whose bellies are still fat. But even though their bellies are still fat, and even though they don't live like the peasants on the bottom, okay, they still have to deal with outbursts from the king. They still have to deal with insecurity of what's going to happen because the king is disrespectful. The king can be nasty. Those people are oppressed by the king. But are you going to tell me that those people, their oppression and the oppression of the peasants deserve to be in the same conversation?
You're making
oppression is oppression.
Yes, you're making.
But there are tiers to it. Like I said, classism. Classism is a form of oppression.
Yeah, but what I think the what he wants to be analogous is going to be that you're just trying to say that like trans people aren't as oppressed or like white trans women aren't as oppressed as like black people. Is that the argument?
Yes.
Okay, what's the argument for that though?
And the reason why I'm even making that argument is because the black people are being put in danger.
Okay, so are trans people.
So are trans people.
So are trans people.
There was literally a trans woman. Hold on, there was a trans woman that was murdered yesterday. There was a trans woman that was murdered yesterday by a cis straight man.
So look, listen. Can I tell you? Yesterday there was also a black woman that was murdered by a white man. Why didn't you say that? You didn't even know, right?
Because you're the one saying that black people. You're the one saying that black people are being harmed, but so are trans people, so are women.
One
yes,
section.
everyone is being harmed. Okay, everyone's oppressed is being harmed by not only the system, but the people who built the system, i.e., white, straight, cisgender men.
So all I'm saying is this, right? When you say that these things can exist at the same time, you are saying that the other one means they're both equal. If a person in Palestine dies, you're saying that person, okay, that death means less than a death.
No, we're saying that death is bad. What? They are all equal. They are all equal.
What? You can only say they're equal because you have less to lose.
No, they are all fucking equal.
No,
bad is not. Bad. Wrong is wrong. Oppression bad. From all sides.
No, it's
oppression
not.
Means people get hurt.
Okay.
Oppression means people lose rights.
Okay. Let me give you an example. In Cuba, right? In Cuba.
That's the last example I'm gonna let you give, but go ahead.
Yes, listen. In Cuba, right? When the communist government took over, the people who were the top people, right, who were enslavers, and the people who were corrupt and were killing people, unaliving people, they got oppressed by the communists. They became the oppressed class. So you're saying that those people, right, because oppression is oppression, they're just victims too. Because once you deal with
anything about Cuba isn't even
your whole argument is bad faith.
First off, Cuba isn't even an argument, and the comments are right. You're focusing on one group of people. That's like a bad
I should
one secular group of people in an ocean of people.
Yes, I am focused on the people right now. Okay, that racism was created for. Racism was created against black people.
So was sexism. Sexism was created against women. So was transphobia, buddy. Again, you're only focusing on one group of people. Transphobia, homophobia, any of the phobias, any of the isms, ableism, any of those were created against these group of individuals.
Okay. Because guess what?
And who are they created by white, straight, cisgender men?
Transgender chattel slavery, transgender lynchings.
Jesus Christ, man!
I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that black people were enslaved. I'm not denying that. There are different forms. There are different forms of oppression, and you're just looking at one. You're looking at via one group. I'm not saying you shouldn't. We should care about black people being oppressed. Black people are definitely oppressed, but you should also care about trans people being oppressed. You should care about women being oppressed, because if someone's oppressed, that means we're all oppressed. If one group of people lose rights, that means we all do. That's how it works, buddy.
It's the thing.
I actually want to point something out.
I don't have the privilege. I don't have the privilege to put on a dress and say that I was a woman and be oppressed, because I will be oppressed, and I don't want to be oppressed.
Who finished the LGBTQIA movement so that way we could get rights to marry each other? Who was it? Was it white people or was it black women?
Say that again?
Who gave the LGBTQIA to right to marry whoever they want to? Was it white people or was it black women?
It was Harvey Milk.
No, it was white. No, it was black women, black trans women. They helped the LGBTQIA more than any other group in the LGBTQIA. Black trans women helped us get our rights.
So what is your
point? To marry whoever we want to. They have been marching longer than anyone else.
Are one of the most racist groups.
What you just said is you can't go put on a dress and first off, that's not how it works. Second off, that just proves that yes, both black people and trans people are oppressed, and both are bad. Okay, I'm not saying we have to fight for equality for everyone. Okay, equality across the board. That's how it works. But I don't know what you don't understand about that. I don't know why you would be against that.
It's because I'm about real change. And when you say equality across the board,
you're standing for the oppressor.
Listen, when you say equality across the board, you're essentially saying is I want a utopia and everybody needs to be equal. And they know what happens? Nothing changes.
But you are standing for the oppressor.
You don't allow it to change. You have this mentality. You have this mentality where you don't want equality for all. Right? I'm not saying. I'm not. Look. I'm not saying you're in the wrong.
There's already equality for white people. They're
No,
already
there's
black, they're already
not.
equal.
Yes.
No, they're
hold
not.
on, hold on,
Listen,
hold on.
a
The system was built for
white straight cis man will
yes.
have more access to disability
And women.
payments than I, as a white,
Yes.
non-straight, disabled woman. A man will always get
there's not
disability
equality.
before I do. There is
Like
not equality.
white women
in
and white
everything.
men. White men have more opportunities than white women. I'm
So
gonna
can I
end the
ask you?
conversation here.
Then why can't you just transition to a man then? If that makes you a real man.
Because I'm not trans.
Exactly. You have the privilege to decide not to do that. If it was really about survival,
No,
you
I'm
would.
just not trans.
It's that simple. It's that simple.
I don't make the choice to be trans. I'm lesbian, though.
Anybody who's really oppressed would do anything to get out
I'm
of
a
that
lesbian,
oppression.
though, but I am not trans because I'm not
Hold
a
on,
trans.
first off,
Exactly.
first
You
off,
have the
I'm
privilege
from
to say
this
this.
mentality.
hold on. Are trans people oppressed? Yes or no?
No, trans white people are not oppressed. The end. Trans people of color are oppressed.
Jesus Christ.
I'm gonna end the stream. I'm gonna hop off, y'all. I'm sorry you guys had to deal with that. You guys have a wonderful night. I'll see you guys later.
I'm gonna take some meds.
Just to be clear, trans people are absolutely oppressed, and it's horrible that they are, as well as every minority. We